It's our Tuesday night Scion second edition campaign here on Dire Bear. And I believe, let's see, what did we do last week?
Got our ass kicked by fish.
Well,
some of us did.
that's
Y'all
what you
got got
did.
kicked by fish.
I
Okay.
mean,
Sasha and Samuel got their asses kicked by fish.
That's fair. That's fair.
The doppelganger did better than us.
went to go eat one of the fish people.
I believe Smoochup was fed it by Connor.
Yes. Yeah.
Doppelganger. Connor. His name's just Conger now.
Doppelganger. God. It's like the worst Donkey Kong ripoff.
I love how I've infected everybody with that. That's glorious.
New person, kind of. At least Jada met somebody new in her class. Talking
right.
about elves.
Dixie
So.
Hartzell, I believe.
We're unsure if Robert's house met her or not at the moment.
Elves and shit.
Alright, so going in this in an organized fashion. Connor dropped off some information with Violetta Sandquist, I believe her name was.
Yes.
The media mogul y'all have gotten in good with. Or at least you've done her a favor, so you assume you're kind of in good with her. Jaden had called Robert over to her place to see if he could work on her bow.
Jeez.
When he returned home, his house had been broken into. His workshop had been pretty thoroughly trashed. Let's see. Connor had gone to town. Did y'all create the shrine? That's right.
Yes.
That's right.
Shrine in the dojo thing.
Prior to that, yeah. Robert had built a shrine in the park for the, was it the kami? Is that what they were called? Creatures that lived in that tree?
Kodama.
The Kodama. They are kami. That is their designation as Japanese gods. But yes.
Okay. So Connor also went to town, or went to City Hall, and retroactively started working on getting the permits to do that.
Yeah.
Says the downside of theoretically it was built before all this was said and done, but
look, just write it down as an act of God. That'll be fine. Consider you've literally got video of the thing springing up out of the ground.
Yep.
But anyway, Robert's house got broken into. As he was examining that, he got jumped by some odd individuals. We've been describing them as fishmen. They look mostly manlike. I mean, they've got hair. They're just very pale. Well, basically paper white. Noticeable gills on the neck. And, bits of, little scaly bits on them, but they're not like completely covered in scales.
Said webbing.
Oh yes, webbing between their hands. Clearly they're made for swimming.
Clearly.
I believe you'd also discovered over at Delirious' apartment, Chad was in the foyer. I believe Sasha had a conversation with him. But as Robert was getting jumped by fish people, basically so was everyone else. They attacked Delirious' apartment.
I thought they knew.
Well, they attacked the building. They didn't know specifically which apartment was Delirious', so they were just kind of trying to beat down doors, which got the attention of Sasha, who'd gone over there to talk to you, and Samuel. Delirious was oblivious because he had his headphones on and was fixing video.
Yeah, they were much too busy putting out the next banger.
Yep. Well, I believe they were working on the footage from All's Good.
Yeah.
Let's see. Connor had split off his doppelgangers. One ran to Sasha's house, where some were trying to break into her apartment. He took care of them and started feeding bodies to Smoochums.
Who he shoved out in the hall when he saw I was about to start rolling around and fling blood everywhere. Or ichor.
Jaden was also attacked at her house. Her and Spruce, I think, pretty well handled him. I'm trying to remember. Real Connor was headed towards Delirius's.
Real Connor's already there.
Well, during the fight.
Oh, yeah.
One faux Connor went to Sasha's place. Where did the other one go? Oh, the other
To
one backed up
mine.
Robert. That's right.
Yeah.
But in the end, everybody pretty well triumphed, though Sasha did get, kind of the snot beat out of her.
Mm-hmm.
I think Samuel may have taken a lick as well.
Yeah, apparently, yeah, Samuel got whooped onto.
So we're kind of starting up in the aftermath of that.
Yep.
The police were
Tellarius-
showing up at Delirius's when we wrapped up last, I believe.
Right.
Because Samuel had run back downstairs to grab one of his guns.
Of course he did.
Well, he had loaned one to Sasha during the fight, and then the one he was using, one of the fishermen actually snatched it out of his hand and tossed it down the hallway.
So fun times in the neighborhood.
Yeah, apparently.
But, well, clearly it was self-defense, and those are fish guys. The police have no idea how they count, how the law looked at those.
Not to mention Satyr.
Yeah, that gets some looks, too. Satyr with a gun. So they wind up hauling the bodies away. By the time they finish going over the area, the bodies are already starting to stink like old fish.
Ew.
Let's see. Faux Connor. Did the Faux Connor stay over at Sasha's?
Yeah.
Okay. So you talk to the police there. Probably get Smoochums kind of out of sight before they show up.
Mm.
So, when they show up, there's just pieces of bodies laying around.
Yeah.
But the smell is, already noticeable. They quickly notice the hands. They recognize you on sight.
Yeah.
So you kind of go, fish people.
Yeah.
They don't look enthusiastic about the paperwork they're going to have to do for this one.
Mm-hmm.
I just Tellarius sends a group text while everyone's like cleaning up. Do not talk to the media.
Oh, but the media starts showing up these places.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. They can't get up to the floor you're on. At Tellarius.
I mean, I could talk to them. I'm trained.
So the Faux Connor over at Sasha's, what do you do about the media?
Honestly, he's probably gonna be like making sure Sasha's place looks okay, making sure the door's mostly intact. And after getting a text from Sasha, because the player sent me a DM, he's actually gonna say, "Sorry, I'm in like a million places at once right now. Gotta go." And he's gonna pick up Smoochums, and he's gone.
All right, where are you headed?
Fake Connor number 1 is heading to Real Connor because Sasha wants her pet.
Okay, so you're headed over to Larry's.
Yeah.
When you arrive, lots of media. They're very excited to see you. They start snapping pictures. You hear one of them, didn't we already see him go in? Or didn't somebody say he was already in there? What is he holding?
Hi, bye. And Fake Connor deposits Smoochums next to Sasha.
I wasn't here, so I don't have the context as to why there's two faux Connors. Did you just critically succeed on it?
No, talk to Jason. He's allowing that. The wording of doppelganger doesn't preclude, per se, that there can only be one doppelganger.
So, like, as long as you can
so,
split successes.
So the house rule is he can have a doppelganger per point of legend.
Awesome.
So there's 2 of them now. When we hit legend 3, I can get 3. Also,
That-
Jason, after game, remind me I need to ask you about a knack. I plan on getting it in the future and how that's actually going to work with doppelgangers.
Knack
Since,
after session.
Yeah, since doppelgangers
There we
inherit all of Connor's boons and knacks and skills and all that. So it's more of a logistical, like, how is this going to work kind of a thing. But
Your doppelgangers cannot spawn doppelgangers.
no, not,
Oh god.
technically. But no. No, that's not what I meant.
Terrifying.
Although, thank you for the idea.
You put it out in the
Well,
world,
if the
Jason.
ideal is still that you can only have 2 going at a time, it wouldn't matter if you popped it off or first faux Connor popped it off.
Fair. I'll take that.
All right. Robert, police also show up at your place. There was enough gunshots that your neighbors called. Of course, all your neighbors out on the porch, trying to see what's going on as the police show up.
Mm-hmm.
You're
Fun
becoming quite the spectacle in the neighborhood, apparently.
I wouldn't say it's too surprising. But yeah, I guess when you hear random gunshots, it's gonna be a thing.
So, same thing. They show up, they ask you questions, they see how weird the bodies are, and they kind of freak out about it.
Say there's a Connor there too, but yeah.
Yes. They recognize the both of you.
Yeah.
Your faces are fairly well known here in town now, so. Let's see. So Robert is able to fix his door more or less, for that night.
Mm-hmm.
Sasha's door was pretty well beat in. I think Faux Connor got there before any of the fishermen actually managed to get inside. But it was bashed up enough that Connor didn't have any trouble getting in.
Yeah.
So was Sasha going to go back home that night, or was she just going to stay at Talaris's? I think you muted.
If her door is as bashed in as described, probably no.
It is.
But Connor will explain the state of the apartment and the outside where he lets Smoochums loose.
Initially let loose inside.
Well, initially, yes, but once he noticed the death roll about to start, he's like, out!
Yeah, she'd still probably stay at Hilarius's. She has a feeling they're all going to be there at some point, since everyone's being attacked.
Okay. You do get a call from from the super of the building. Yeah, he can get another door put in pretty quickly.
As long as no one messes with the stuff in her apartment, she's fine with that.
Someone knocks over a vial and then bees.
He's not sure.
No, she has it with her.
She just didn't remember to use them.
Yeah, she didn't remember to use them. Thank you for reminding me on that one.
But yeah, your landlord tells you or the super rather tells you, yeah, he's not sure how clean up that mess in the hallway, how that may affect your security deposit. It's not really up to him, but he'll have to see how much the cleanup costs for that, because right now the entire hallway smells like dead fish.
Yay!
Sasha's
Sorry.
just like barely hanging on, and she's like, "Oh, great, bad news."
Like leaning against like Smoochum's, like partially draped over Hippo butt. Just this day's going great, guys.
You okay?
Yeah, sorry. I kind of let Smoochums loose on them.
Smoochum gets a little squirmy not too long after that. He's like he doesn't want to move while you're leaning on him, but the second you straighten up or go do something, he's at the door, clawing at the door. He's had a big meal.
Oh no, I'll be back.
There's people out there, isn't there?
Unless you would like him to relieve himself in your apartment.
I'll go with you.
Is there a back door to this building?
Yes, we established that
Yes,
last time.
and a side door, which is what him and Samuel used to sneak up on the poor innocent PI that one time.
Did Samuel return with his gun?
No. I mean, he is by this point.
Okay.
Y'all
But
walked
it
down and
took
talked
a
to the
while.
police. Yeah, well, the police showed up while he was fetching it.
Yeah.
So y'all went down and talked to them while he was, when y'all arrived to talk to them, he was talking to them, trying to explain what had happened.
Okay. That's what we'll be doing. Put down with you. I'll do if they come to us, I'll do the talking.
Well, unfortunately, all they're going to see probably is a hippopotamus, but
That's fine.
All right, so y'all slip out the side door or back door, whichever.
Yeah.
No media presence there. They seem to all be out front or in the lobby. They don't have the key. They don't have a key to get further up into the building, and nobody's buzzing them up. So where are you going to take Smoochums for him to do his business?
I'm assuming a building like this probably has a place for pets to do their business.
It's like a park within a couple miles.
Yeah, well, actually, we will say there's an animal park in the neighborhood. Not a huge one.
It's late at night. Well, it's after dark.
Oh yeah. By this point, it's probably 10 or so.
Yeah, plenty enough darkness for her to just casually walk crocodog down the road.
Here, stick your butt in this little section of woods, because there's no way I can pick this up.
Oh no, that's what's happening.
All right, so yeah, he marks his territory. I think of it like one of the old-fashioned sprinklers, just kind of.
God.
Have you watched videos of hippos?
Yes, I've seen one. One single hippo. Scarred for life. Anyway.
Carry on.
Now go watch it in reverse.
No.
Oh God,
Absolutely not.
that's a Frank one.
We'll link that for Deca after session.
Throw up the X card, y'all.
All right. If there's nothing else y'all want to do that night, y'all can get through the rest of the night without too much trouble.
Well, what is going to happen to Jaden's door? Because they kind of broke down her door too.
Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot all about that. The police would also have shown up to you. First thing they do is, can you put up your dogs?
She'll call Spruce to her.
He smells like fish.
Gonna need a shower.
The one head,
My back was down.
the one head is kind of growling at the police. But the other two have had a pretty good night, so yeah.
Nah.
But they take away the bodies. They have you fill them in on what happened. They, of course, notice the oddness. So you and Spruce had taken them out, but you hadn't. They're not as mangled as the ones at Sasha's apartment because you didn't feed them to Spruce afterwards.
Yeah, no, they were all like killed by headshots, basically. And
Very efficient.
Spruce apparently just rolled. And
Yeah, and the kind of thin ichor that leaked out.
mhm.
And he was laughing at it when the police got there. Yeah. But now they'd also broken in your door.
Mhm.
So you have to either run out and get that repaired, or because I forget, were you in apartments or did you have a house?
Apartment.
Okay. Then you're able to call your super, and he's able to. The door's not painted. It's it's just a rough door, but it's something he can put up and put your deadbolt and stuff in, so you can lock up for the night. Media, of course, shows up. Do you talk to the media?
Nope. Not at all.
Really, though, they just want to ask you a few questions.
Nope. Because she has to give Spruce a bath now. So she's not dealing with the news people.
Well, the next morning, all of your places have still got, have still got at least one news team, one news van sitting out there. With the exception of Connor, of course, because so far nobody knows where he lives.
Yeah.
Just text the group. Can everyone meet at my place? And I'll ask them to take the back way.
You get a response back from Robert. Sure, be there when I can.
Jaden will be like, be there as soon as I can.
Cheekily from the sofa. I'm already here.
I mean, yes, that is 100% accurate.
Let's say the two Connors around both go present simultaneously.
That's right, 'cause you had put one on vigil on the rooftop.
Yeah.
Hilarious. You do find that there is a video online that next morning showing you and Sasha walking her dog or her smoochums.
That's fine.
It's not one that follows you all the way to the park, but it's literally.
Oh, it's them.
Yeah. Well, first, what the crap is that? Oh, I think I know who that is.
It's like randomly seeing Garth Brooks on the street or some shit.
If they saw Connor or Sasha or any of y'all really alone on the street and recognize you, they'd probably run up and talk to you. But in this instance, there's a crocodile-headed hippo thing there. They seem to be content to film from across the street.
Big brain.
That's fair.
Well, you see something like Smoochums, and just that little leftover monkey part of your brain goes, nope.
Yep.
That one ancestor that got chomped by a crocodile several thousand years ago.
Find a tree to climb.
Hippopotamus is more deadly.
Mm-hmm.
But most people don't think about that.
No.
Excuse me.
Hmm.
Uh,
All right.
so yeah, each of y'all, as you leave your apartment that morning, or in Robert's case, his house, that one news person that's still outside, from the sidewalk, they're not running up on your property since the previous night you'd probably told everybody off my property. But they're all like, can we have just a moment of your time, just a few questions about what happened last night? Any of you make any responses?
I wait for everyone else to come in.
Well, you're in your apartment, so you're not having to deal with it.
Right. That's fine. Yeah.
Jay's just gonna ignore them.
Do you have Spruce with you?
Yep. And Spruce is her. Basically, she's using him as a guard dog. Keep them away from her.
The lady waiting outside your spot is like her and a cameraman. Yeah, I mean, she's probably 20. Clearly she's one of the junior, reporters. And you think maybe you've seen her on a segment or two on the news. One of those that they just stick out in the city somewhere and then cut to.
Mm-hmm.
Or
yeah, she doesn't get close to you, especially with Spruce. But she is calling out to you, asking, if she could have a moment of your time.
What?
Did you load? Does Jaden have a car?
Nope.
It's
The only vehicle she drives is the one at her job.
That's right, the van.
Transport people back and forth.
God, I imagine Spruce on the bus.
He's probably the best of boys.
He is the goodest boy.
Except for that one head. That one head that just always is perpetually pissed.
You've always got to make sure that whichever head is grumpy that day is not the one that's got the aisle.
It has to take the window seat. Has to be the window seat.
Open the window just enough for him to stick that one head out.
That or just get the snaz just to get out so he can just like sniff the air.
So the one head is out the window. The other two heads are just looking at Jaden, giving her the puppy dog eyes because they can't get their head out the window.
Like, Mom, you gotta roll the window down more.
All three heads will not fit outside that window.
No, unfortunately not. At that point, it's just you have to practically open the door.
Mm-hmm.
What about you, Robert? You don't have any animal bodyguards?
No, but he does have a Connor.
Almost
gun.
animal bodyguard.
He would just let the media people know, like, look, I've got to do damage control. I've got to figure out if I've lost anything or if there's even more damage that happened that I'm unaware of. Give me some time. I'm gonna go meeting up with somebody to talk to real quick, and I'll be happy to talk to you just a bit later. Right now, please no. I've got stuff to do.
Oh, are you speaking to insurance or to other members of your band?
He just kind of looks like a faux Connor. Both.
Y'all open y'all's truck or your truck and you drive away.
Mm-hmm.
There's a cameraman there. He's filming you.
Some tabloid is just like
Connor's waving.
There's some tabloid that comes up like Connor, insurance adjuster? Question mark.
No, but a picture does pop up in one of the
God,
papers
no.
of Connor waving out the window. Right above the sign for Robert's business on the side of the truck. Good.
It's a good picture. Yeah.
All right. So all of you managed to get to Claris's without any trouble. You park a street over or something and walk to the back door or the side door.
Mm-hmm.
If anybody already at the apartment peeks out in the lobby, there are a couple of reporters in the lobby.
Great. As soon as everyone's in, I just like All right, y'all. Here's the thing. The media is not going to get any less intrusive. I'm assuming all of you had to deal with it at some point.
Yeah, I rejected them and told them, look, I got stuff to do. I got people to talk to. I'll talk to them later. Just right now, I had things to do. They asked me if I was going to talk to the band or insurers and gestures. I just looked at, and he points at the folk hunter that came with it. I just looked at him and just said both. So I wasn't technically lying, but I was just not in the humor to put up with that right now.
And that's good. That's kind of what I wanted to go over while I have you all here. I want to. The media is going to take any words you say and attempt to twist them to fit some kind of story that they have. Sometimes the story benefits us, mostly it doesn't. Even when you think you're doing a good job and telling the truth and being honest and forthcoming and even doing the right thing, we get shit like that. What happened when the alpha dogs like shot up the place, kidnapped those people at that news place, and they haven't recovered since. What I want you guys to work on, and if you want, we can go down and talk to the media that's there and demonstrate. Say a lot of things without actually saying anything. Just very blanket statements of like, this is wrong, we're going to get to the bottom of this. Just very blanket. Don't go into detail. Don't say what your plan is. That's for bad guys. You let bad guys monologue. We do actions.
Yeah, so I think I heard this saying once before from my old man. You're essentially saying to do doublespeak. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
And if you're not good at it, don't talk to the media. I'm not even saying lie. Like, don't lie. Just say,
Well,
this is bullshit. We're gonna deal with it. And that's it.
That's the whole point of doublespeak is you give a statement that technically is the correct statement, but you use words of manipulation to make it sound 100% different than what you just said.
Exactly.
That's, I'm pretty positive politicians do this just about all the time. Now that I think about it. But anyway, that's
And you
besides the
see
point.
why they're in power, because they can get away with it.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong.
So we're supposed to let you to continue to make videos of our exploits looking like video games and horror movies, but the media is the one that's going to make us look bad.
I make you guys look great.
We look like video games and horror movies.
Yeah?
They want reassurance that something is going to be done. They don't want us to look like fools.
We don't look like fools. We got both things taken care of. Alpha Dog's gone. What happened in all's good? We took care of it. I put a creative spin on it, but I ensure that we all look good in the process. I still have to be entertaining for YouTube, but I'm not going to make any of you look bad.
But what she's saying has got a point. We just at least need to let them know that we do give a crap and we're trying to at least make sure that nothing happens to them if we can avoid it.
Hiding from the media and continuing to not say something is just as bad as saying the wrong thing.
We're not hiding. Watch.
Besides, I already have a contact with the media that we can use.
I mean, I guess if we want to use her exclusively, that might be one way to look at it, I guess.
That's something we can do.
I already did tell her that I talked to you all about getting an interview with all of us anyway. We can get things put together there.
Are you and you're certain that she won't just, muddy
One of our
things?
pantheon here is good at drawing up contracts and bureaucracy. We can make a contract with her where we must be displayed in this particular light. We must have final cut of all interviews. Would that be okay?
I did already work on that. Besides, she owes me a rather significant amount of favors.
Yeah,
We
what'd you
can't
do?
I didn't ruin her life.
Ah, thought I'd do
I mean,
it.
that's fair. That is fair.
That does tend to work favorably upon people when you don't ruin their life.
Besides, what Sasha said is very true.
No,
My
it is.
pantheon is known,
Oh,
and quite known, for bureaucratic delay, corrupt officials, anything like that. We clear through it.
good to know. We'll be in touch later for
Because things like
unrelated
that
things.
are just a copy of the mandate of heaven. Or celestial bureaucracy. We've kind of
Ugh. They have that up
special.
there.
We invented it and specialize in it.
Ugh. Solaris like very visibly shudders.
Do you remember that one building we went to where I never had to ask anybody anything? I just walked up, type in the code, and we were gone.
Yes, actually.
There you go.
Impressive. Uh,
Delirious, you do understand that all the pantheons develop something in one form or another. I mean, take mine for example, for having master craftsmen. Somebody's got to do it. I mean, yes, every pantheon and every place has their own particular people meant for that, but the people of this year, especially dwarves, really got good at crafting.
still getting used to this, thing.
Oh no, trust me, I'm getting more used to it as I go. I mean, come on, I literally 2 times in front of all of you. Well, second time no one was around, but 2 times I have erected buildings from nothing more than the earth.
That's pretty cool. I'll tell you what.
Hey.
Let's go downstairs. We'll talk to them. These people, we'll tell them we are going to take care. We're going to take care of whatever this issue is. But as far as what's her name again?
Violetta?
Violetta, yeah.
But as far as anything exclusive goes, we'll simply say we have an exclusivity agreement with a certain reporter.
That would
You know-
even just possibly stir the rumors further.
Yeah.
Perhaps we could just say we will be making a statement more thoroughly at a future
Later.
date.
Yeah, I like that. That warms me.
That works. Cool. They go downstairs.
All right. Just Hilarious, or is the entire band, coming out of the
Up to
elevator
them.
in V formation?
Flying V.
Sasha's going to use a little bit of the in sheep's clothing to make herself look less beat to shit.
Okay.
Uh,
Now, does that actually change her appearance?
It
Yeah,
never. Yeah. When you disguise yourself, you do without any control. You have option to change hair, skin, eye color, apparent gender, height, yada yada.
Okay. That is not the
Yeah.
ignore me feel. That's a separate.
Yeah,
was
ignore
thinking
me
I
is walk unnoticed.
Okay. I was getting powers confused. But yeah, you
No,
have no
man,
you have no
ignore
problem
me.
covering up a few bruises and cuts. Doesn't make you feel any better, but you
No.
look better.
She's forcing herself to walk without like a limp.
Actually, go down the elevator. I'm going to be like, remind me to take a look at whatever you got going on.
One Connor is going to go back to the park that
Mhm.
has the tree. One of the fake Connors is going to just keep an eye on that. He's going to send another to actually go check on his grandfather,
Okay.
considering the attacks. He wants to make sure. Then real Connor's going to stick around with him. It's like
Okay.
as they go down, it's like, remind me to take all of you all to go get some armor.
When Folk Connor gets to the shrine, there is already someone there.
Okay.
And in fact, some of the things that should be hung from the trees that you hadn't gotten to yet, some of those already seem to be put up.
Who is it that's there?
30-something-year-old, maybe, of Asian descent, obviously.
Does he match the description of the guy that beat up his grandfather?
Maybe vaguely. But we'll get to that in a
Yeah.
minute. Let's handle
Yeah.
the interview first.
Okay.
So as y'all walk out the door to go downstairs to talk to the press, Samuel's drinking his breakfast. You'll have fun down there,
Protein
kids.
shake or vodka?
Yes.
You're not sure what's in the mug. It could be cocoa, but it's probably not.
Before they leave, she looks over. Could I, by chance, borrow one of your firearms until I have time to go back to retrieve one of my own?
Oh, yeah, sure thing. He hands over one of his pistols.
She will, like,
You know, he kind of pulls
Put
it
away,
back just as
Nancy.
you're about to grab it and goes, now don't shoot any of the reporters.
no. That's what Smoochums is for.
Well, y'all have fun down there. I'm going to sit up here. I don't want people to be able to recognize me.
Okay. Just hilarious. It's like, keep face on. Let's do this.
Do you not have much experience speaking to large groups?
Oh no,
Or-
I do. It's the same thing every time. It's presentation is everything.
All right, elevator dings, opens up.
Shut up.
There's 3 or 4 reporters out in the lobby.
These
You
Hilarious
know, of course, they
stands
look up as soon as
straight.
the elevator dings. They all look up, and then they get excited.
Hilarious stands up straight, thinks murder, and continues and walks forward.
Just remember, you can kill everybody in the room if you have to.
Sasha's just kind of grinning, which is terrifying in her own right.
They'll interact with they'll make sure a crowd 6 feet apart.
Oh, good God.
We established that's not
Yeah.
a thing.
No. I'm saying that for a different reason.
Oh,
I was
They-
about to say, I'm like, come
The
on.
three of them that approach kind of spread out. Their cameramen are all behind them.
Okay. I'm gonna say this for everybody at the same time. We, just as a general, we condemn the actions of the people who came in, acted. We will be making a statement further at another time. It's my one and only time I am saying this to you all.
Will you be making a statement about the events of last night as well as the events in All's Good?
Yes. And then, about face, walk back.
As you start to turn around, they shout a few more questions at you, you know. The
Think
specifics.
murder, walking back. See?
Like you're on the catwalk.
It's very much what they're doing.
Now I've got Right Said Fred stuck in my head.
Mm.
Shake my little tush on the catwalk. Anyway,
oh,
one of my favorite songs from the 80s. At least I assume it's 80s. It might have been the early 90s.
And,
See, Real
I
Connor's
just-
gonna watch this. Is like, oh, that was a thing. When
it seemed necessary for all of us to be down here.
let's see, when was he was supposed to meet the city council in the morning?
It wasn't
Or were
the
they supposed to
count. It was the
contact?
clerk in charge of Parks and
Right.
Recreation.
Okay.
And yes,
All
I
of
believe it was relatively early.
Back up
Okay.
the elevator. Hilarious is like, see, everyone got on camera. Everyone that wanted to be on camera is on camera. And we made a statement without making a statement.
Let's see, yeah. Connor doesn't actually go back in. He'll just look at the report and say, well, what they said. And then he'll also say, now, if y'all excuse me, I have a meeting in City Hall I need to get to.
Is this about the shrine that one of your bandmates? And you're gone.
Well, no, he won't far off media, he'll pause and just go, in a way. I'll speak on it later. And he'll wink at him and then he'll leave.
All right. Back at the park.
Yes.
You see a fellow at the shrine. He's left some little offering. I'm not sure what the appropriate offering would be for that.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe food or some sort of drink.
Bounty of the Forest.
But like I said, somebody else has been like fixing up the tree.
Yeah. He'll pause and like, oh. Well, I guess somebody finished.
Are you saying that within earshot of the fellow that's at the shrine?
Yeah.
He looks over at you. Ah. Yes, it seemed a shame that whoever went to the trouble of creating all this left it half finished.
Well, when you're having to fight off a lot of things simultaneously all over the city.
Ah, yes, the fishmen.
Quite. Well, thanks for finishing it for me, at least. I was going to finish it this morning, but you beat me to it.
The spirits from our part of the world need to be respected more here in the West.
That is why all this, yeah.
Though he gives you an odd look when he says our part of the world.
What?
Mm.
Is there a problem with me putting this up?
Oh, not at all.
Why the look?
Well, I say our part of the world, but you're not really from that part of the world.
No, I'm not. Doesn't mean I wasn't steeped in it.
Ah, yes. The Monkey Prince.
King, but yes.
I'm surprised that you don't have your own dojo.
Well, it's not something I really feel like focusing on. At least not now. I wasn't... I'm not exactly geared towards teaching others too terribly well. I can do it, but I'm not the best. Dad mostly made me for battle.
Ah, so you were crafted for a singular purpose. I can
Essentially.
relate. I can relate. My master trains us for but one purpose. I am more inclined to teaching myself, however.
And there's nothing wrong with that. Everyone has their own niche to fill. I'm a warrior and a protector. You're a teacher.
And this city is in dire need of some proper teaching. The instructors they have here have proven so far to be lackluster.
Ah. You mean the advanced age of my grandfather?
That and, well, I'm sure he's perfectly adequate from the American point of view.
Well,
Some of us take it as more than a hobby.
I think you're presuming a little bit there.
I would not include you in that.
I wouldn't include my grandfather either. He was a great deal more spry than he is now when he was younger.
Some of the men I trained with were at least his age.
Well, I would appreciate it if you didn't speak ill of my grandfather.
He looks contemplative for a second.
Because veiled as it was, that was an insult.
It's like he's thinking hard about pushing you a little bit further. And then you see him kind of cut his eyes toward the tree. This is not the place to argue or come into conflict.
No, it is not. My father would be rather put out if damage were to come to this place.
I assure you, I intend no harm to the spirits here.
Good.
I'm in fact hoping to get to know one better.
Oh?
But these spirits can act as guides. I'm not sure. You say you're steeped in the lore, so perhaps you already know.
Yes. Typically, they can offer insight if you present them with an appropriate offer.
I've begun the process.
Huh.
Having recently moved to the area, it would be to my benefit to have a local spirit to advise me.
Well, I guess we'll be seeing more of each other then.
Undoubtedly. They also seem a little upset. Well, not upset. They don't seem to have recognized those fish creatures.
Yeah, that was definitely new.
They aren't natural to this area, or natural at all, truthfully.
Nah, honestly, my first thought was sort of the more, fantasized variants of, I think they call them Sahagin, but
That sounds like something Eastern European, perhaps?
yeah. Have a few similar traits, but that might also be just, the romanticization of TVs and shows. I'm not the most well versed, but
Well, fear not. I and a small group of friends are already looking into them.
then I guess that might be something we can work on together.
Oh, I'm quite certain we can handle it ourselves.
I am not doubting your skill in that regard. It's just we have a vested interest in it as well.
As you're talking, you hear some other people walking up. The fellow you're talking to turns and looks. The media.
Yeah, their uses.
Reporters are jogging up to you with microphones. Cameramen are trailing behind them. Well, one reporter's got a cameraman. The other two have just got, like little voice recorders. So yeah, they may work for radio stations or papers.
Yeah.
But they come running up. They start asking you questions about, so they don't bring up all's good. They just ask you questions about what happened last night.
Yeah, kind of like when they get started, he'll just hold up a hand to them. And it's like, please, we're in the presence of the spirits. Be respectful. This is not the place.
They don't quite seem to know what to think of that. Did you build this? Well, we've seen video that your friend built this. They keep asking you questions, but they get a little quieter about it.
He'll turn back to what is He pretty much is sure is Kim Faust.
Faust.
Faust, yeah. He'll just sort of give him a nod and is like, let's speak later.
Of course. And then a couple of the reporters start questioning Mr. Faust, how do you say it,
Hmm.
about what happened at the warehouse last night. And he simply answers, a friend of mine spotted some of the same creatures that the what's y'all's band's name again?
Ignis
Ignis
Eternum.
Eternum.
Ignis Eternum.
Eter, not inter. We're not dead.
You're
With a
interned
metal
in
name,
fire.
though.
Anyway, we saw some of the same creatures, or one had a friend who saw the creatures that attacked the Ignis Eternum. Saw that they'd been let out of a van, followed the van to a warehouse, called in myself and one or two of our other friends.
Excuse me.
Investigating the warehouse, we found a spawning pool for these things. We'll make a full statement about them later. But in short, we rescued some citizens of the city who were apparently being transformed into these things. The people we found in the midst of the transformation, we're not certain that we'll be able to help them return to normal, but we at least stopped the process. As I said, we'll make an official statement later. And then there's a few questions about, if he and his friends are another band, and about if there's two bands in Olympus at the same time.
Gang warfare.
But Faust is kind of like Connor. He's made his little statement, then he's like, before he leaves, though, he does turn to you, Connor. It was interesting meeting you. I'm sure we'll speak again.
I'm sure we will.
And then he kind of skirts around the reporters and heads down the pathway. Which causes all the reporters to focus back on you.
Yep. Give me a moment. I need to write all that down because he just gave out information to a man that has perfect memory.
Oh, excuse me.
As the day goes on, the rest of you, either through the internet, watching TV, Samuel would see something on TV and bring it to y'all's attention. There are reports of a fight at the warehouse, at a warehouse on the lake shore. Several people were rescued. They're very vague on what was being done to these people.
Connor's not so much.
Pardon?
Connor not so much when he tells the rest of the band.
Yeah.
What the news left out.
Though there is some video of the police walking one victim out, and it's a little difficult to tell from the distance they are. But they managed to focus on one of the hands, and the hand does appear to be webbed. But the person's walking under their own power. The police have like a blanket over them, over their shoulders and stuff. Walk them to walk them to the ambulance, and then get them, they get loaded up.
Well, perhaps in the future we go for less than lethal.
If they could be converted back.
Now, the Connor that is going to the City Hall.
Yes.
You arrived right at the time for your meeting?
Mm-hmm.
Were you sitting original Connor or one of the faux Connors?
Original Connor.
Okay. Let's see. I don't think I gave the clerk a name or told y'all the clerk's name last time, did I? Nope. I don't think I did. Lawrence Brooks
Okay.
is the clerk you've got to talk to.
Mm-hmm.
He invites you in, gets up, shakes your hand.
Yeah.
It's a pleasure to meet you. I've been seeing reports about your exploits on the news.
Yeah. And he'll shake the hands like it's a pleasure to meet you as well.
So I see you're looking to get the permits for the for a shrine in the park.
Yes.
It would be perhaps an interesting addition to the park. You're supposed to file for these things before construction begins.
Yes, I am aware. Although, in letter of the law, no construction actually happened.
Yes, the city's legal department is puzzling over how this falls.
In the distance, you can just hear Robert go, "Sorry, not sorry."
However, and while I should have, yes, is something I did want to say to that. Doing so was a mission that was given to me by my father.
And your father is one of the Chinese gods?
Sun Wukong.
They call him the Monkey King, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I wanted to make sure that was something that was an acceptable.
That is one of his many titles.
Oh, okay. I wanted to make sure that wasn't accidentally an insult. I'm not
that's
real
what he
knowledgeable on. He hesitates to use the word myth, but then he's like, "Oh, I'm not as knowledgeable on the myths of your people."
The histories.
Fair. Meant no
Yes.
offense.
No, I understand. That is, in part, the reason for the shrine. It is to bring a little more Eastern influence to the city so people can learn about our people and our cultures.
I guess we do have a fairly. I suppose the city is a little Greek-centric.
I believe you can strike the word little out of that.
Well, when the story of the city's founding involved the Greek gods, or likely some of their children like yourself.
I understand. But yes, that was kind of the point. Honestly, it's the first mission I've been given by my father, so I got a little excited.
Understandable, I suppose. And the city does have a growing Asian community, and they have certainly responded, or certainly responding positively towards this development.
Yes. And I did make sure to plan ahead to where nothing was uprooted or displaced within the park. Everything grew around it instead.
Now, yes, some
And
of the groundskeepers had actually noted that.
I
So
did everything that I could to prevent any real change beyond just the placement of the structures.
uh, so I've spoken to the mayor about this,
Hmm.
and as long as you understand a couple of points, we will put the paperwork through without issue. Uh, One is that anything like this in the future, regardless of if it's a request from your father or not, that you go through the proper channels in the proper
Yes,
order.
I was rather sternly lectured about it.
No, that's fine. I mean, no damage was done.
Mhm.
Also, the stone working on it is rather remarkable. If something should be damaged at some point, I assume the city would like assurances that we could request aid from your band to help with repairs.
Uh, yeah, I can ask them certainly. I might end up honestly taking a bit of a residence in the building there just to keep an eye on the shrine and the tree. There's for more information for you that you can give to the mayor if you'd like. There's actually one of the kami from the Japanese pantheon that have actually made that tree their home.
I thought the Monkey King was Chinese.
He is. The kami and the shin, um, while they do butt heads time and again, they are very closely linked together,
Oh, I see. Okay.
given the closeness of the two.
Wait, you said a kami was. Is there a Japanese god living in that tree?
Yes. I was tasked
Which
by my
one?
father, Kodama. It's a spirit of insight and historical knowledge.
Huh.
It asked me to be its protector and its guardian, and my father approved as intermediary. Hence the quick action of shrine and home for me to potentially live in to be a guardian of the area.
And this man looks like he's just a little out of his depth.
Yeah, I apologize.
Oh no, it's
If you
fine.
wish to, if you wish to call the mayor, I can explain it to him myself.
Oh
I
no,
believe
no,
you had
no,
another
it's fine.
point.
I
I'm
mean,
sorry.
he's jotting it all down. Like I said, the biggest issue was that we can call on your band to help if repairs are needed.
Yeah.
As that kind of stone working is. Well, it's not the sort of thing we usually have the budget, that we usually budget for.
Yeah, I understand.
And that nothing like this happens, again.
In the future. I understand. Yeah, I believe as one of my dear friends in our band put it, I need to learn to look before I leap and start doing backflips off of a building. Make sure there's a net at the bottom.
Right. Uh, yeah,
I mean, I liked
I
the
think you
analogy.
have jumped off of buildings before.
Well, analogy meaning, plan ahead, make sure there's
Yes, the planning
everything
ahead.
is
The
done.
planning ahead. Yes, let's focus on that.
Yeah, that's what the analogy was for.
All right. Yeah, he
Because-
starts pulling out some paperwork. Just have a few more things for you to sign, and
Yeah, Yeah, sure.
Not sure about the taking up residence in the park.
Well, it might not be like a permanent place of residency, but it might be where I spend a significant portion of my day.
A sort of shrine keeper.
Yes.
Okay. I've read up a little bit on how this works.
And if others wish to learn, a place to sort of hold meetings and teach.
Well, that shouldn't be a problem. I mean, it's a public park. People can meet there, as long as you're not talking about huge gatherings.
No.
Then you'd need permits. Yeah.
It would be a place of learning and spiritual enlightenment. Large gatherings aren't typically attributed to that.
Well, in that case, he goes over the paperwork. If you can sign this few more things.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Mr. Hughes. I believe that takes care of everything.
Sure.
Thank you for reaching out to us and getting this taken care of.
Yes. Like I said, this is sort of a case of asking for forgiveness because Dad, I jumped before asking permission.
I understand you've only been. I don't want to say you're new at this. I guess you've been at this since you were born, but
Well,
a lot
not
has happened
so
recently.
Not so much acting in a divine capacity since I've been born, but yes.
Anyway, it's been a pleasure to meet you. The mayor did want me to ask, completely unrelated to what we've just been dealing with.
Yes.
For your band to contact him or to contact his office. I'm not entirely certain why. Perhaps he wants a way to contact you if there's need.
Yeah.
Just construct a sign on the top of a building. Wait, no. The light.
He gives you a bust of one of the founding fathers that you push the head back and there's a button.
I like that one better.
Or maybe just a red line. But it's an old rotary phone, so none of y'all know how to use it.
Well, I'll let them
Robert would.
know, and we can reach out to the mayoral office to get that set up.
That's fine. He just asked me to pass that message along.
Yeah, sure. I'll take the message to him.
And he kind of walks you, out of the office or whatever. And there's a few other people working in the area. Very, very subtly kind of snap a picture or two with their phone.
I think they're subtle, aren't they?
Everybody wants the likes on the Facebook or whatever.
I suppose that's fair.
And you are becoming you and your friends are a bit of the celebrities here in town now.
Well, that is a side effect, but yes.
But anyway, like I said, he walks you out of the office. So, tells you it was very nice to meet you, but he really does have to get back to work.
Yep.
So, what is the rest of the band? Or really, I guess all of you, since Folk Honor's there. What are y'all doing in the meantime? Y'all had the little bitty semi-appearance in front of the media.
Mm-hmm.
Real quick, Master Connor, can I tell you, sir? Try again if you're talking.
Yeah.
Love you.
He's yeah. Screw you too, buddy. I'll say Connor is not there actually.
Well, Folk Connor.
No.
Neither Folk
No,
Connors?
Folk Connor went one to guard the shrine,
One to guard
one to
Grandpa.
guard his grandpa, and the
I
prime
forgot
Connor
about
went to the meeting.
about the one that went to Grandpa.
Fair enough.
Basically no real RP there. He's just checking in, make sure none of the fish people like ambushed and attacked him or something. And
No. Your grandfather had a very average night, other than being still being sore and stiff.
although he will say, "Oh, he met the guy and managed not to start a fight."
Oh, that's good.
But that'd be about it to extent of that conversation. He
Yeah,
will
so,
not. He will not state the insults that were passed. That he considers his grandfather to be a hobbyist. But
well, he's more polite than his master would have been. His master would just loudly declare that your kung fu is shit. But,
Did Connor give us information for Violetta, or is that just his thing?
I
think he had mentioned to you that he was doing that.
think he mentioned it, but I don't think he gave him any contact information, actually.
He would have mentioned the name, I'm sure, between all of our... We could find contact information for her paper and office.
Well, I mean, the band had talked about, handing over the criminal info to her and returning her information to her already.
Yeah.
We had talked about that before, so the band's aware of her.
Yeah, I just don't... Connor didn't specifically tell us this is the number you can call her at.
Yeah.
Okay.
Probably.
It's probably publicly, like Sasha said, like publicly searchable information. So that's probably what Hilarious would do, like right after getting back in the elevator, like, huh, that went well.
I'm sure Hilarious called up the office and was like, "Hi, I'm from this band. I want to talk to Violetta. I'm sure we could get through."
Oh yes.
Agnes Internum looking for Violetta. Just zooms to the phone.
Please hold.
She has a corded phone. It's on the other end, twirling the curl of the corded phone around her finger, like, "Hello."
All right, so are y'all giving her a call?
What's hilarious is I'm not going to speak for everybody else.
Oh.
Everybody calls her at one.
Oh.
Ties up all her lines.
I would assume before, we call her up, we establish, this would be the time and date. There would be, a contract drawn up that, we're in charge of, final edits, final cuts kind of thing.
Show it to us before you publish it. Yeah.
She's willing to agree to the, you get to see the final thing and kind of have a say in it. She won't make any promises about well, you mentioned earlier, but you didn't specifically say anything right then about making sure she spends it a certain way.
Well, seeing the final cut would kind of allow us to do that.
Because she's, she wants to put you, the way she talks, she wants to put you in the best light possible. But if y'all go out and do something just seriously screwed up, she's not going to,
sure,
try to cover for you.
Sure.
Yeah, we're not asking for that. Just that,
the truth we present is presented in the right light. Hilarious is just like, I'm not gonna lie, I barely want to do this, but it's good to have one point of contact and not a billion different news outlets.
So she'd very much like to get y'all in today to do it.
I don't think we can do today. I'm speaking out of character. I don't think we can do today.
Well, I mean, it's still early in the day.
Mm-hmm. I just don't. I don't even know where Connor is. Any one of them.
It would be easy enough to call him and get him brought back.
Just like this, holding my hand over the thing, like, I don't even know where Connor is right now.
He said he was going to a meeting.
Okay.
So if y'all having this Violet, it's like, the sooner we get to that, the better. I mean, you've been back from all's good for a day or two. And then the events last night, we need to get up out ahead of this sort of thing. If y'all want y'all's story to be kind of the dominant one as opposed to whatever the press, if you give us in the press a few days to work up our own theories, there's no telling where
I
it could
mean,
go.
was gonna say, Matt, you are the press.
Jaden would be like, well, we can always message him to see if.
Sasha's already doing
Can
that.
one of you guys do that, please? I'm a little tied up.
Sasha's already like, please come back to Delirious before he has an aneurysm. Or before they have an aneurysm.
Connor's immediate response. So the scenic route?
Just 3 dots.
Alright, fine. I'm on my way back.
Um,
Also, I'm getting you some armor. You need it.
yeah, we can do something later on tonight. Maybe in time for the evening.
That would be great.
Yeah, cool.
So she schedules like for early afternoon for the actual filming of the interview.
Mhm.
Yeah, because they're going to do it as a pre-recorded, not try to have you there live.
Good. Alrighty. Well, I am looking forward to this, and I don't say that often about interviews with the press.
We're not all monsters.
Enough of you are.
Delirious, I hate to break this to you, but you are part of the press.
You hear a slight snicker on the other end. Clearly, Violetta heard Sasha.
You have a wonderful day.
You too. I look forward to seeing you.
I'm just saying, with the YouTube channel, you do kind of have as many viewers as some small town stations.
She's not wrong.
And I'm doing my part to make sure we look good.
So again, her statement stands to be true. You are technically the press in your own right.
I am one of the good ones. Violetta, perhaps, maybe. I don't know her that well.
Let us give her the benefit of the doubt, for now.
Never said she was a jerk. I just said that the press is evil. It's like politicians. Politicians are inherently evil. Just because as Connor walks in.
Connor pauses and went, so I'm evil.
Uh-huh. You do your best with
my
things.
entire pantheon is evil.
You work like humanoids.
No. Rethink that statement. Because you just
Blatant.
you just blanketed
Blatantly.
We can know words right now.
my entire pantheon with that word.
You're right. I am just fed up with the humans.
Hilarious.
You're still
How long ago did you
No.
find out that you were...
You misunderstand what I mean. I am fed up with the way that things are spun in the big corporation media thingies.
Have you read many myths? They're spun just as much.
I hate it here.
Right. So what's going on? Why did I get called back suddenly?
Late afternoon. We're all gonna be doing the thing with Violetta.
Oh, okay. Oh, by the way, the mayor has asked to speak with us as well.
Any particular reason?
I think just to have a way to contact us to should the need arise with the city.
Hi, this is the number you can use to contact us by. Click. I don't actually do that. I'm just like, as an example.
Miming.
Yeah.
Probably something a little bit more formal than that, but yeah.
How
Something a
about
little more
this?
formal than
Also,
that.
my meeting went well.
That's good. What did you talk to them about?
Getting the paperwork settled for the shrine and the keeper.
I have to. Okay, so I was busy, like, in here. So let's take a step back.
Uh-huh.
What happened?
You've
Do you
seen
want the
video.
long version or the short version?
How long until late afternoon?
Oh, it's maybe 11 at this point.
Okay.
Short.
I'll go with the short version. Short version is one of the kami from the Japanese pantheon is sleeping in the large tree in that park. My father, Wukong, being the intermediary, has tasked me with its safekeeping and well-being.
Okay.
And do you know what I mean by one of the kami?
No. Unless you're about to tell me
Okay.
the literal gods in the tree.
Yes, actually, a lot of them.
He's not kidding.
I believe him.
There's at least a dozen, if not more.
Yeah, I remember
And
that.
also potentially there might be another band in the city.
Wait, what?
We did see the news.
Yeah, I ran into one of their number. There he finished the protective ropes around the tree and was in the process of working on offerings for the Kodama. Uh he looked like he was actually going to try to push me into a fight, but just the location held him back.
Any
Also, he's
reason?
the one that beat the tar out of my grandfather. But
So are we gonna go fight him then?
No, no,
oh,
please.
if he gives me a reason to, I'm gonna
No.
fold him in half like an omelet. But no, I was diplomatic about it. He specifically mentioned himself and a group of friends. That news story about the warehouse, that was their doing. They followed a van there to the warehouse where they found a spawning pool of some kind. Basically, they were kidnapping citizens of the city and forcing them there to turn them into the fish folk. So we encounter them anymore, we should probably resort to non-lethal means. I can swap the mode of my staff at will. Uh,
Just have
I
these, so I'm not really worried about
yeah.
lethal.
Uh, but
Then
that
I'll
should
try
probably,
shooting them in the kneecaps. Okay.
yeah, we should probably resort to non-lethal means moving forward, unless we don't need to. Unless we, that's not the word. Unless we can't. Uh,
So do all of us have to come to grips with the fact that we've just, like, most of us have murdered innocent people?
no, because I've been doing that for a long time.
Those of us who aren't used to it?
Do what you need to.
I don't know. Did Connor murder a lot of innocent people?
When he was younger, when he was still a gangster, he was literally carving a legacy in blood and bone.
Ew.
So yeah, when he was a gangster, he yeah. And he did do some time for that.
Okay, so
Oh,
Connor has
my.
been in jail.
He has.
It isn't like we didn't
Or
just murder
probably
people at
juvie.
all good.
Yeah, it was juvie because all of the instances were basically him defending himself in gang wars and gang violence. So it's
Mm.
not like he was going out and like hunting down like old ladies and like breaking their necks or something. But it's him. It was basically attributed to the nicest way to put it is self-defense in for survival in gang violence.
Aggravated
But
self-defense.
but he fought with lethal force to protect himself.
Alright.
So there is a record, but
Alright, well, that's gonna sleep on. Well, I mean, I knocked them out. I didn't murder anybody. But
I
And
think
there was also
I
the
think
warehouse with the alpha dogs and the people at all good.
yeah.
again,
Also, the story on that is on the Alpha Dogs anyway is being spun that the information retrieved from them was from an anonymous source. So
Yeah, nobody has any proof that y'all were at the warehouse
Yeah,
for the last
I did,
alpha dog fight.
Okay.
I did a bit of media jaunting myself on that to get ahead on it.
Impressive.
Now, if you look
Bureaucracy.
around online and stuff, everybody kind of assumes it was you guys. But
Yeah, but there's no
Sure.
evidence.
Does anyone need anything to wear for the news? I have a handful of things.
I've got some stuff at home.
Okay.
Sasha,
Mm,
when we're done, mind if I take you shopping a little bit?
I have perfectly acceptable clothing at home.
Not clothing. Actually, I should probably get all of you in on this.
We're not going armor or weapons shopping before this. We don't have time.
I said after. Look,
I have to see what kind of armor you're looking at, but
I am the only one of us that is technically armored, but that's just because my body is literally made of stone at times.
If we're going to
As
be dealing with supernatural, it might not even matter. It also might be a crazy exorbitant price.
yeah, it might be true, but it might also save your life.
But not all of us have the money to pay for said items.
Let us put a pin in it for now. I understand your concern, but
I'm certain if money is an issue, I can help with that for those of us who don't, have the means.
benevolent
Let's-
hilarious can help the poor.
let us
I
take this
say
one
it
step
like
at a
that.
time.
Yeah.
Now, let us all get a shower, get a meal, get properly dressed for an interview. Do we want to meet at one location to go to the interview, or arrive individually?
We want to shuttle in Robert's truck.
Should we just invite her here to record it?
I have pretty good acoustics.
The way she was talking, it's going to be an interview for television as well as, the audio will be used on the radio as a filming for TV.
Like a podcast thing?
Yeah, or little radio news bits for her paper. So yeah, she wants to have it at one of her studios.
I
Convenience.
basically have a studio. But I get it.
Yeah, but she's got her
Why do you-
equipment. You
studio
are a
and
talented
her
amateur.
stuff. Yeah. All right. Well, let's meet back in. I don't know how long it takes you guys to get ready. An hour?
Sure, I'll try my best to be back here by an hour.
Let's make it 2.
Okay. Meet back here in an hour, and we'll all leave in Robert's truck.
All right. So as y'all get ready to split up and go get ready, Samuel comes out of his room. I think you guys got scooped.
I beg your pardon?
He walks over, turns on the main TV, and flips through multiple stations showing the same thing.
Of?
It's 4 people. All of you recognize Chad.
Oh, great.
Connor recognizes Kim Faust.
Mhm.
Jaden recognizes Dixie Hartzell. Let me see. I think it would be, if I remember right, it was Talarius, Jaden, and Sasha that would recognize the woman that's actually speaking with these other people kind of
Girl at the
behind her.
library.
Close up of her face. Yep, you recognize her. She's wearing glasses. She's got the purple streaks in her hair. She got the mismatched eyes. the heading up under her identifies her as Penelope Raptus. Don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly.
Penelope Raptus.
Actually, throughout the interview, you get everybody's full name, so which I think I've given you everybody except Chad's. I think it's Chad
Is it
Bronson.
Chad? Is it? Oh, okay. I was gonna be like, is it Chadwick?
No. Oh, I wish I thought about that though. Chad.
What was the woman's name again? The redhead.
Dixie Hartzell.
So, okay.
Hartsell.
Okay.
And you got Penelope who?
Raptus, Raptis. Let's see. Kim Faust is spelled Fouss. And Bronson's spelled like it sounds.
Okay.
He is giving a statement about what her band did the night before. Chad. She gestures to Chad, or she gestures to yeah. Well, yeah, she'd call him by his name. She gestures to Chad. He saw a bunch of the fishmen. Actually, she doesn't call him that. She refers to him as the victims of this change or mutation. Being unloaded from a van in front of whatever the name of Talaris's apartments are. She doesn't mention Talaris. She just names the apartments.
Oh boy, my apartment's famous.
Chad followed the van back to a warehouse, contacted the rest of the band. They moved in to investigate. And it's pretty much what Kim had said. They found the spawning pools. She talks more about the people they saw in there that seemed to be running the place. They only managed to take 2 of them alive. Because they put up a fair bit of resistance. They were, however, able to the handful that were there that victims that had been fully changed. They were able to subdue them without hurting them too badly. And those that were only partially through the change. Well, they didn't get involved in the fighting. They were in this pool. And she talks about the police. They're currently, her understanding is that they are currently in the hospital. People are saying there's anything that can be done for them. While they are physically healthy. Well, actually, the reporter later on is talking about, after the initial interview, is talking about the fact that the people that are partway through can still talk, but it's like they're kind of confused or or perhaps badly traumatized by the process. The ones that have been fully changed can barely seem to say more than a word or two. The police are in the process of trying to identify everybody. They've successfully identified some of the people. Those names will not be made public until they've managed to contact, the next of kin and stuff. Though they have released that everybody identified so far has been either a resident of Olympus or a resident of, what's that little community called across the lake from Olympus? Orpheus?
A suburb of Olympus.
Kind of. Othrys. basically, it's a really small town that started up about the same time as Olympus. It was basically the people that didn't want to consolidate together. It is not the most prosperous place in the area. To the people in Olympus, it's kind of the wrong side of the tracks.
Of course it is.
Like I said, it's directly across the lake. But Penelope, she identifies her band as the Vanagian, Varangin. The news folks identify that as the. I'll have a better grasp of the pronunciation next session, I promise. Basically, they've taken the name from the city guard of Constantinople during the later days of the Eastern Empire.
Constantinople.
Seemingly firmly establishing themselves as defenders of the city. Some of the reporters ask questions about, the attacks y'all dealt with. Penelope tells them, she doesn't know the details of, doesn't really know anything more about that than they do. She knows that the Ignis Eternal was Eternum. I'll get that right eventually too. She knows you were attacked and that you killed all of your assailants. Regrettable, given that we know the assailants were just victims, but there was no way they could have known that.
Oh boy.
She's like, you have to ask the police if they managed to identify any of the bodies.
Great. Now we're the bad guys.
You're not the bad guys. You're just, the less competent guys. It's fine. But she wants, and she wants the people of the city, or they want the people of the city to rest assured that, they are investigating the people behind this, as she's sure the other band is as well. And she has no doubt, between two bands and the city police, that undoubtedly they'll figure out what's going on fairly quickly. And then it cuts. Then she basically, that's kind of the end. She doesn't take any questions, and it cuts to the reporters in studio talking about what just went down.
Do you have a personal point of contact for Violetta?
Do what now?
Do I have a personal point of contact for Violetta?
It's possible she would have given you the phone number, maybe.
Yeah.
Might be able to do something.
She had given Connor a number that it is. I mean, it's directly to her secretary. As opposed to calling the office and getting directed to the secretary and all that. You can call directly to the secretary's desk.
Okay, but none of us have her cell phone number, is what I'm saying.
No, I don't believe so.
Okay. So they made us look bad without having to say that we were bad.
Yeah, that smells like Kim's influence there.
Worry about casting blame and who looks better or worse after we figure this out. That's why you get ahead of the media instead of hiding from them.
Ouch.
I didn't hear what you said, Jason. I
said
assume
ouch.
it's I was gonna say I assume it's like an ouch.
That too, Sasha.
Sasha lived in that lifestyle. She kind of She knows. Tell the people what they need to be told.
Okay. Well, guess we'll just ask if we are still needed.
I mean, we're still gonna be needed because they also want to know what happened over at
All good.
hmm
Fair enough. We can give that account.
And all good, we did extract a good part of the citizenry.
We did.
hmm
You only almost killed one of them.
And to be fair,
But
well,
didn't.
All right,
put a pin
so
in
y'all.
this.
Oh, go ahead, Sarah. What were you
Put a
saying?
pin in this. We all go home, get changed, get washed up, eat a meal if your stomach feels confident enough for it, and we meet back here.
Just like explain to Samuel what a scoop actually is. What getting scooped actually is.
Oh. Well, I just meant they got on there before you did.
Yeah. I understand.
Whew, that redhead. I have a thing for tall women.
I know, but that's every woman compared to you, isn't it? Look, I'm just stating a fact.
I didn't say women taller than me. I said tall women.
Yeah.
She is
It's a-
exceptionally tall.
And beefy. I think she'd hurt me.
All right, that's enough out
We're
of you.
going to go
That's
home.
enough out of you.
You just like, what? Everybody walks off.
Someone walk by and horny bonk the centaur, or not the
Aw.
centaur, the
Satyr.
satyr, please.
God, Centaur would be a nightmare in Clarice's apartment.
Clop, clop,
Yeah.
clop, clop, clop,
Yeah,
clop, clop, clop.
would be. It's like, how do you deal with a horseman all the time? Well, you see, funny thing.
I ride him into battle.
I
No.
mean,
No, I don't think this. I don't think centaurs took
They
that
don't.
idea very well.
They're not down
They
for that.
No, they will kill you for that.
I was fixing to say to them, that's kind of being disrespectful.
Mhm.
Unless they openly give you the okay, you don't just jump on and say, "Giddy up, bitch." It's like, no, that don't work. That gets you stabbed.
Yeah.
Anyway, so you break up, get ready, meet back up.
Mm-hmm.
Good question.
Mhm.
Did the girl at the library, Penelope, did she say she worked at that library when we met her last?
No, she was doing research there on something.
Okay. Yeah, because Sasha would look into a way to get in contact potentially with her.
So, research, huh?
We all had a conversation with her there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
At some point, we'll just be like, so, research? All right. Well, if we meet at back at Telarius's, you'll see that they're wearing like a very nice, very well put together like gray suit, gray slacks, matching shoes. They clean up very well for looking like a gremlin most of the day. Hair tied back, or what little hair they have tied back.
Honestly, Sasha's probably just wearing the same thing she wore, at least like color-wise, just ironed. White collared shirt, black
Mhm.
pants, um, hair braided back, tiet necklace.
So dressed. I'm just picturing her dressed like a Jehovah's Witness.
No,
no.
no, tiet is it's a knot of Isis.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Oh
a
yeah, I mean
stone charm.
when you're talking about the white shirt and the
Oh,
slacks, that's what
she
I
looks a
pictured.
lot like her the profile picture you have for her icon. Just
Okay.
dressed like that.
Oh, that's right. She did have the whole white shirt thing going on. Okay.
Very monochromatic. Very much. I'm trying to not stick out.
I am bland. Suspiciously bland.
She will forewarn her grandparents of the interview so that she doesn't get calls afterwards.
They seem to be remarkably excited about that. Ooh, which station is it going to be on? What time is it going to air?
Yeah. Passes on all that pertinent information.
She's gonna like text on Facebook. Everyone, watch my baby girl on the interview on this channel.
Oh, God.
Going on adventures, they frown upon. Going on TV to talk about the adventures, that's fine. She's not likely to get shot, stabbed, or beaten there.
Mm-hmm.
You say that.
Just don't bring up the last time she was at a news station.
Uh-huh.
Prone to getting her ass kicked, okay?
Hence
you're
the
just-
armor.
The dice really like her. Just
Yeah.
Though the other band didn't look like they'd gotten beaten up particularly. But anyway.
hey, quit rubbing it in.
They're probably all combatants too.
Oh, they may all have epic strength now that I think about it. Anyway.
Yeah. Oh, one thing she would bring up before they all depart again.
Mm-hmm.
It's very odd that we saw Chad in the foyer, and he apparently saw these creatures dropped off, but he did not see fit to tell anyone.
Oh, you know.
Or stop them from attacking other members downstairs.
He was also, texting about you, Teleris.
Was he?
I can't remember the exact wording of the text, but wasn't it, has he come out yet, or have they come out yet, or something like that?
Right. Something like that. Something that, basically he hasn't seen them. And kind of him whining about how long he'd been there.
Yeah.
And being told, basically, just wait a little bit longer, and then you can split.
What was the name of the person that Chad was texting?
You didn't have a full name. It was just showing up. I think it's a letter.
Allure?
Yeah, I think it was just showing up as P.
Oh, I thought you said as a lure. No, as a letter.
No, as a
P?
letter.
The letter P.
Yep. P as Penelope.
Yep. I'm not casting judgment or stone, but it is something we should be aware of.
It could have been Paul.
It wasn't Paul.
Well,
Phineas.
has anybody else met anybody from this band?
I've met 2 of them so far. Or 3. Chad, Penelope, and Dixie. Dixie was in my class yesterday.
This is
And Kim
She
came,
moved over. She moved up here from the south.
Mm-hmm.
So.
one is a coincidence.
And yeah, I mean I know what vehicle she drives, so
What vehicle does she drive?
she drives a
Red Corvette.
Yep, a red sports car, Corvette. At that
no point did
Robert,
at no point did I say she drove a Corvette.
Right,
He said sports
car.
I said she had a red sports car.
A bright
and then
red,
Robert saw a Corvette somewhere else at some other time.
You said a red Corvette.
Hey, Robert will, whatever he was doing in the background, he will stop and just turn to Jaden. I'm sorry. Repeat that statement?
A bright red sports car.
Okay. Thank you. I'll keep that in mind.
Why?
Because there was a bright red sports car parked at my neighbor's the night of the attack.
Okay.
Wasn't all your tools destroyed?
Yes, and my house was
all of
completely all my tools in my shed. Any tool that I had was destroyed. Though they left my I stand corrected. As far as I can tell, they didn't steal anything out of my home, but they completely ransacked it like they were trying to look for something.
Either looking for something or they know of your heritage, and that is a very personal blow to a craftsman?
Well, to be fair, though they may have hindered me, that's all they've done is hinder. Because as I have slowly discovered in a few days where we've all been relaxing, I don't necessarily need those tools as much as they think. But
Still,
but that's a moot point.
You're saying you could just like do this and screw something in?
Telarius, do you need anything hammered out right quick?
There is this really weird hangnail over here. With this freaking hand.
He literally walks over there, balls his hand into a fist, and starts whacking the wall. You distinctly hear the sound of metal as he is like he's using a hammer on the nail.
All right.
He'll like kind of loosen his hand and like just roll his fingers. So again, they didn't hinder me as much as they think.
You know, you could have just said yes.
I know, but sometimes showing is much more fun.
You're right.
That, and it's a lot easier for you to believe me than just me proclaiming, "Oh, look what I can do!"
Am I supposed to think you're a liar?
No, but I still have to remind myself that I can do these things because, again, I'm not used to this.
Fair enough. Let's go. Let's do this interview we promised,
Oh,
and
of course, yes.
we will worry about. I'm definitely casting judgment, but we will worry about anything that we can do about it later.
for
See,
now, go
On
ahead.
the point of judgment, real quick, that Kim guy, he visited my grandfather's dojo and basically, effectively just attacked him. Granted, it was a sanctioned spar, but
But
Scion versus mortal.
him knowing what he is decided to still fight a human and regular person.
And
Okay.
You mean
at
like
the
a
sh-
Karate
at-
Kid?
and at the shrine, I respectfully asked him not to insult my grandfather anymore, and he definitely looked like he was going to try to goad me into starting a fight over it.
For now, for the sake of appearances and our own public-facing appearance as a band,
hmm
we remain cordial to them, I suggest. We're here to help the city.
That's what I posited when I spoke with him. Is basically, hey, let's work together on this to help save the city. And he seemed very dismissive of it, but I get what you're saying.
Speaking as a bit of a snake, lay in the grass for the opportune moment to strike. I'm sure it will show itself.
Yep. There's one thing the Shin learned in agreement to your statement, Sasha, is you never know when chaos is gonna hit.
That's secretly Connor's legend title.
Yeah.
Chaos hits.
All right, so y'all head off to the interview.
Yes.
You meet up at her main building.
Mhm.
You know, her office is, you know, she's got a couple of floors dedicated to the paper. She's got, you know, a couple of floors where the TV station is.
Yeah.
Excuse me. As well as, you know, probably only about half a floor of her radio station.
Mhm.
If you ever driven past radio stations, a lot of times they are tiny little buildings.
Mm-hmm.
They are.
It's like a shoebox with a really big hat.
They're not wrong.
And there are really big antennas on top of this building, so, you know. You know, it's a 6 or 7 story building. It's not like huge.
Yeah.
You don't really have any skyscrapers in Olympus because it's in Nebraska. You've got plenty of room to just spread out.
It's Wayne Technology Tower.
Oh God.
They go
So
down.
on the ride over to Laris is going to be like, don't lie about anything we did, but we're going to accentuate things versus, saying we're going to accentuate the good thing that we've done.
How do you feel about the trail of bodies you've left behind you?
Might I also suggest after this we perhaps look into speaking more freely with the media when they approach us? Not for interviews such as this, but just as simple questions.
Simple questions, yes. Things we can say yes, no, that we've all vetted together. How does that sound?
Connor just makes a humming noise.
Exactly.
We'll talk about this
Yes, we'll talk afterwards.
because some things that you might not want them to know would be more they would need to know. They need to trust us. There's another band here.
They need to know that we're not trying to put ourselves above them, that we don't just view them as lowly humans.
That we have their best interests at heart.
I don't know.
That they know we have their back.
We
Gotta be
love you,
That they can-
peons.
That they can ask us for help on the street should they need help, even if it is for something simple like getting a kitten out of a tree. We don't need to be unapproachable.
I mean, there is video evidence of me literally flinging myself into a fire to save people, so.
I'm not discounting your trepidation about the media.
Again, the last time there was a major interview.
We'll
I'm not saying
discuss-
don't talk to them. Yes, we'll talk about it after. I'm not saying don't talk to them. I'm just saying be cautious.
So y'all get ushered into a studio.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Violetta is there. She's not the one doing the interview, of course. But she shakes hands and
Mhm.
so glad to see you all. Gets introduced to the ones of you that she hasn't met.
Because all of them.
Well, she's spoken to Delirious.
Yeah.
She's spoken to Connor a couple times. She pretty sure she recognizes Sasha's voice. But let's see. Y'all are going to be interviewed by
Google random name generator.
basically. This is a random newscaster. I don't care what his name is. Walter
Come on, Kite.
Brokaw.
I mean, Walter Beck would have been a good choice.
Walter Brokaw, no relation.
Actually, now I think about it, I think Walter Beck is the name of a NPC from Fable 3.
Oh no.
The name sounds familiar somehow.
Yeah.
And
I
did
think
play
it's
a lot of
the
Fable 3, so it's possible.
I think it's the old guy that was pretty much your right hand throughout 90% of the game. The old fighter.
Yeah.
I wanted to say that's him, if my memory serves.
Yeah, Sir Walter Beck.
Yep, that's it, Sir Walter Beck. I knew I remembered something.
I'm proud of you.
So anyway, any of you that grew up in the city, you're very familiar with Walter. He's been in the news business for quite some time.
Yeah.
This is the city got built in the 80s, or founded in the 80s. But so he's been on the news most of y'all's lives anyway. So you're brought in, you're introduced to him. He shakes hands, really looking forward to the interview. Really glad you agreed to it.
Hmm.
He tells you, he doesn't give you like the questions he's going to ask in advance because
Yeah.
they want us to seem, feel legitimate. But he basically tells you, he is going to ask a few things about the alpha dog, and then he's going to ask you about all's good. And then the attack last night. Uh, so, like you said, he starts off with the alpha dogs, asking, he gets the story from you on how you became aware of them. Uh, Talks about the couple of attacks or a couple of fights that everybody knows you were involved with. How do you respond when he starts asking you about what happened with the alpha dogs and the popped bodies they found and he just let ask were you involved in that, had you had an encounter with him that night?
Hmm.
How do you respond?
No, Connor
And who
would.
speaks first?
Connor probably.
Yeah, he would. Uh,
And remember,
he
Hilarious told you not to lie.
yeah,
I trust Connor not to lie.
he would. He would say that uh, they were present to negotiate a ceasefire among the gang violence in this had been going on between the Alpha Dogs and the rest of the city as deterrent. It, through treachery by the Alpha Dogs, devolved into violence, in which case they were forced to defend themselves against lethal assault.
You understand? So he goes. So you were trying to talk peace and it spiraled out of control. I understand. What did you do to those people?
We did nothing. That was something that they did to themselves.
Sasha will pipe up. Unfortunately, with everything that now walks among us, magic is also a factor in our everyday lives. One of the members of their gang had acquired an artifact that allowed elementals to be housed within human bodies.
That's how they were able.
Which,
He kind of interrupts that, but that's how they were able to do the fire and
correct.
storms and what. Oh, okay.
Magic in untrained hands is not something that is controllable. Unfortunately, they lost control, and that is what happened to them.
Do you know what happened to James Dorrance? His body was not found.
Well, after the battle was said and done, once the rest of his gang lost control, he realized that he was very much on the losing end of the fight. In order to continue with the peace we attempted to broker, I negotiated that he would take him and all of his group and leave the city to never return and darken its doors again. As long as it was done so without any further incident, and that all of them would leave, bar none.
So that's why the alpha dogs just disappeared overnight.
Yes.
You didn't think perhaps they should be brought into the police?
I'll be honest, my first thought was to just put an end to all of the bloodshed and death.
Yeah, that's understandable.
It was my fear that with the others losing control of themselves and becoming as they were, as you all found them in the warehouse, or as they were found in the warehouse, there's no telling how many others might have had those abilities and never showcased them. And if they were all brought into the police, we would potentially be dealing with a great many potential effective suicide bombers that could take out the law enforcement in the city.
Wow.
Out of character question.
Mhm.
Has it started leaking that the police are corrupt? Or that at least that the police chief?
Oh, that's right. Because
Yeah, that was turned over.
you'd only turned that over the day before.
Yeah.
So no, she has not released that yet.
Which is why Connor has not mentioned it.
Makes
Uh,
sense.
She'd have probably let you know that was going to be coming out in the next day or two.
Okay.
You know, she's kind of got to have certain ducks in a row before she does that. So, like, tonight's news, it'll be y'all.
Mm-hmm.
And then tomorrow night, then it's probably the big expose.
Yeah.
And the ruining of careers.
Good.
But, then he moves on to, well, can you tell us about what happened, or tell the viewers about what happened in All's Good? What had you head up to that town just out of the blue?
Sasha will look over at Jaden for that.
We all look at Jaden.
Well, my mother had come to talk to us after we have dealt with the alpha dogs to let us know
And who is your mother?
Artemis,
The Artemis.
the Artemis. Had let us know that there was an issue going on up in All's Good. Something was hunting people down, and for us to go check it out. And so the next day we did. And we went up there and we just figured out that we found some survivors in the cafe, and we talked to them and they said mountain lions, that they were attacking. They had told us that first it happened in the outskirts of town. And then they sent out their hunters to try to figure out what was going on, and that one of their hunters came back mauled. He was alive, but he was badly hurt, and he was set at the doctor's place, and that night they just were attacked. But they were still safe in the cafe, like the mountain lions hadn't got through to them. But they did go into the doctors, and the two that were there just weren't there anymore. And so we figured out we were looking to find survivors, which we did. And we kind of found out what was going on. It was the hunt.
The
and
hunt.
Mhm.
Yeah, are you familiar with the old tales of the Wild Hunt?
Only vaguely. They were, what was it, Germanic or Norse myths of.
There are English variants too, but yes.
Of like fey creatures, on horseback hunting, whoever they came across.
Otter makes a ta-da gesture.
And they were recruiting a lot of the hunters from the town. We tracked the person behind it. Connor dealt with it.
Yes, the reports speak of a body of undetermined species that seems to have been decapitated by blunt force.
Yeah. I had to hit it really hard. That was the only way.
I see.
It was also that, and that creature's death was the only thing that would end the hunt. Once it was felled, from Sasha would know this better than me. Apparently, the dead were rather restless
I could
from
see them
it.
being unhappy with what had just happened to them.
Apparently, that set them free. I think Sasha.
The creature that had been the leader of the hunt was also performing magics to bind the spirits of people they had killed, tortured, maimed, to keep their spirits here to power its magic.
Killing it freed all of them, so they could move on to the afterlife.
It also deactivated, for a lack of a better word, the magic that it had placed on those that it had recruited to the hunt.
And I will say, while the term recruited has been used, this was not a willing recruitment.
It was more of a coercion.
Oh yes, there was something in the report about that. They've had to get psychiatric help for a couple of people.
Yes.
It is unfortunate.
But you seem to have saved quite a few townspeople. There have been interviews with like the family y'all got out, and the older lady and her husband, and a few others y'all that came out of hiding after y'all finished. But he goes, and when you came back to town, and up on the screen they play the video of Robert raising that temple, or the shrine rather, out of the dirt around the old tree.
Mhm.
So, Mr. Jones,
Yes.
my understanding is that you run a local construction company.
Yes, sir. For many years, I've been just doing local construction work, restorations, any small little side job construction wise. I generally would be happy to do anything that was within my capabilities of doing so.
Do you do all your work like that? It seems like your capabilities are impressive.
To
Between this
be
shrine and then then it flicks over to another image of Fort Jones, and all's good.
to be fair, that and he points the one at all good. He's like, that there was the very first time I had truly attempted that kind of build. I understand. I to right now I'm still 100% still trying to learn what all I can or cannot do as a scion. So it's it's jarring a lot of times the things that I find out I can do. So when I was able to to produce this particular manor over there, all good, which congratulations to whoever owned the property that I have to build that on. I apologize in advance, but that's neither here nor there. But he points to the shrine. That I took the time. I went home and found research material of Eastern shrines, how they look, their composition, and all that. And he'll kind of motion over to Connor. Upon request, you know, because of a particular spirit of the more Eastern cultures have taking residence up in that tree, he wanted to have a little bit something more done. So I, without much thought, I happily obliged. And within just a few hours of kind of looking over some text, I was able to pretty much recreate this.
It's excellent work. And the Asian community in the city seems to be very pleased with it.
Well, like I said, I did my best to replicate it from current books and old depictions of when shrines were originally built. So I tried my best to keep it as authentic as possible.
Well, he's like, uh, you know, purely from the standpoint of someone born and raised here in Nebraska, uh, it certainly looks authentic to me. Uh, but in mentioning Scions and learning what you can do, I assume that must have happened fairly recently for you. Uh,
Yes, sir. I too am native to this city. I've lived here pretty much my whole life with my family. Though I think they've kind of moved away in recent years. I just stayed behind.
but Mrs. Caro had mentioned her mother. If you don't mind asking, who is your parent? Oh, your godly parent.
He is not. Wouldn't say he is not unknown in the Azir or more the Norse mythology. He's actually more of one of the dwarves that help the Norse gods with a lot of their works.
Oh, one of the
believe
crafters.
Yes, and as he like pointed out, hence my innate love and ability to, of course, enjoy building and creating.
I guess you get your height from your mother's side then.
Yes. He caught the comment, but he just rolled on with that.
Now, Mr. Hughes,
Yes.
it's already seems to be pretty well known that you are a child of Wukong.
I mean, it's fairly obvious.
Yeah, the staff being a prominent fixture of your father's stories.
Mm-hmm.
And truthfully, you may have mentioned it at some point. I forget.
Out of character, he's never explicitly mentioned it. But
you know, he's got the stick. He does kung fu. You know. And he flipped to some video of you of the footage they've got of you catapulting into the fire and coming out with the dean's wife. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, with both of them actually.
I can't remember if you were actually carrying the dean as y'all came through the window.
He wasn't carrying the dean.
Yeah.
Yeah, he carried the dean to help him get down, but he was physically carrying the wife, yeah. But he came out with both.
You know, we got this scene of, you know, when the alpha dogs had attempted, you know, just a flat out murder. As well as, and there's little scenes of, you know, clips of you just on your morning jogs.
Yeah.
Because some of those tend to be kind of outlandish. So, any idea what brought your father to our humble little town? Or humble little city?
He hasn't told me. Honestly. The first real task he's actually ever given me, like explicitly stated, was what I asked Robert to do.
Now, according to my notes here, that was a Japanese shrine.
Yes. That is correct.
But your father is part of the Chinese pantheon, I believe?
Yes, he is. What he wanted done, what he asked me to do, is to bring more more of the East to the city for those that are of that side of the world.
Maybe just a little jealous that the Greco-Romans get so much love here.
Who knows?
But
if you've read any of my father's stories, you know there's really no predicting what he's up to.
I was not overly familiar with him. I've read a little bit in preparation for this interview.
Yeah. There's no way to predict what he'll be up to.
Mrs. Adele, you've been rather quiet. Would you like to tell us about your parentage?
There is not much to speak of. I am not from Olympus. I've been here raised by my grandparents the past 5 years or so.
He's like,
Um,
yes,
good.
I believe you lost your parents.
Yes,
Or well, your human parents, I guess.
correct. My birth parents. My patronage, as far as my godly pantheon, is tied back to a set.
You'll have to pardon me, ma'am. I'm not sure I'm familiar with the set.
Um, Commonly outside of the Netshire pantheon, she's called Isis.
Oh, I see.
And while Olympus is not my home, I, like the rest of my band here, while we are not infallible, we will protect our home.
Oh, that's all anyone can ask of you. Then he turns to Delirious. I suppose that means I saved you for last.
What can I say?
Would you like to share with our viewers, your divine parentage?
Um, Truly, my divine parent was my mother, who raised me and taught me right from wrong. However, I know that's not what the people want. Um, you, they are. My divine parent is Amor, the more familiar for people here compared to, some of the others here, but God of love.
In which pantheon? Wait a minute, Amor, is that Latin for love?
It's Cupid.
Oh,
Please refer to him as Amor.
oh, of course. Uh,
No fancy tricks, no extendo staff, just very good at talking to people.
well, every party, I suppose, needs a face man.
Everyone here is capable of speaking to an extent, and
Well, you've been a little, your band's been a little standoffish to the media up till now.
truthfully,
Outside of your own YouTube channel, anyway.
sure, looks at Sasha. Truthfully, we are a little skittish because the last time any of us talked to somebody in the media, well, channel 6, that happened with the Alpha Dogs.
Oh, yes.
We've been a little gun shy as a result.
That is understandable, I guess. Though you did get everyone out of there alive.
We did.
So very good job there. Now,
But
we lost some
you-
citizens and
you-
all
you-
good, but
you understand where we would feel a little responsible for bringing people into danger in the first place.
yes, it was a bad first experience with the media. I can understand that. Now, to move on to the events of last night, it's my understanding that you were simply attacked out of the blue.
Yes.
That's the way it seems.
Do you have any idea what these or any idea why these people were attacking you?
Us in particular, not especially.
Well, we have no idea why they attacked us. We have since learned, unfortunately, of the events of their creation. I believe I can speak for all of us when I say that we look forward to assisting the police and I can't remember the other band's name right off the top of my head, but Sasha would.
Yeah.
Uh,
Vajane.
Varjane, something like that.
At least
Yeah.
that's the
And-
spelling I got. Varjain.
Yeah, that we look forward to assisting in absolutely any way possible.
I thought it was Gian.
I wrote it very sloppily here. I'm putting it in the Discord.
Oh, okay.
I am
My-
aware that they attacked locations where
Rankin.
our
It's a Greek
homes
word, so
were,
it's pronounced a little funny.
in spite of, at least in my case, my not being there. So they had some knowledge of our locations.
Yes, well, you know, you did make social media walking your pet once.
I assure you it's not my intent to bring harm to myself or to anyone that also lives in that building.
How have the people living in the various apartments that your band does? How are they responding to this brush up against fame?
Out of character. Have any of them even approached us?
No. Not that you've had much time since the attack, but
Yes.
Fortunately, at least in my case, I have a bit of a studio to myself, so I mostly try to avoid getting other people caught up in our unfortunate attacks.
do you think this is the sort of thing that your neighbors need to worry about?
Not if we're going to be there to protect them.
Well, hopefully you will be.
We will be.
Of course, earlier today there was an announcement of a second band here in Olympus. A lot of excitement around that. Have you met these people? Are you familiar with them?
I've spoken with Kim.
Yes, there was some footage of the two of you at the shrine. I guess you have I guess both being from Eastern pantheons, you have a certain, or at least everyone's assuming Kim is or Mr. Foss is from a Eastern pantheon.
Yes.
They have not been forthcoming. They have not made any announcements yet as far as who their parentage is, but but I guess that would be a common not common trait,
Assumption.
yeah, well, the assumption being that he was part of the Eastern pantheon, but something you have in common.
Yes. We spoke for a while. Both expressed a desire to see a little bit more of the East represented here.
That's certainly understandable.
So, I believe on that front, at the absolute least, we could definitely see eye to eye on. So sort of a joint project, so to speak.
Now for perhaps a more difficult question.
Mhm.
Having dispatched the fishmen, how do you feel about the revelation that they were victims of some nefarious third party?
A little bit. It's a combination of both sick to my stomach and resigned.
You don't feel you really had a choice as they were attacking you, but
Yeah, I operated with what information I had available to me in the heat of the moment. Any probably interviewing any soldier out there, sudden combat scenarios like that, you can't instinct will need to take over or you could die.
Completely understandable.
So I operated with what information I had is that my friends were being attacked. I needed to respond.
As they're talking, I'll lean my head over towards Sasha and be like, maybe show the damage.
I'm I'm no stranger to violence and combat. You've probably seen some of the footage of me being the one usually on the front lines.
Mm-hmm. You definitely seem to be the one with the most hand-to-hand combat training.
Which is normal for a child of Wukong.
Oh yes, I'd imagine
It
so.
it it comes as part of the territory with us. So I'm no stranger to it. Doesn't mean I like when it happens. That was part of the reason why we went to All Good to begin with, to protect the innocent, to protect those that couldn't really defend themselves against the supernatural. So, at the very least, what I can say is I will be subduing any such foes in the future. Now that I'm aware of the truth. But I just will have to make reparations where I can for those that were lost.
Walter just kind of nods. I imagine it's a heavy burden to have to carry, but the alternative, as you said, was your own death. So
My own death and no telling how many others. I
yes, uh, the report said, at least at one of the locations, that they were trying to beat in the doors of other apartments. So
yeah. So action had to be taken. And this coming fresh off of battling the wild hunt, where there was no discrimination. It was either you kill them or they kill you, everybody around you, and the entire town, and then move on.
hmm. Are you worried in this lifestyle you find yourself in? And he's kind of addressing this to everybody. Are you worried about the long term mental health concerns that could come from this, PTSD, that sort of thing? Or being what you are, do you have some sort of resilience as far as that's concerned?
Just
I,
because we have divine heritage doesn't make us less human. We're still fallible. We still feel things just as strongly as we would have before we found out about our divine heritage. Yeah, that
This just kind of goes quiet again.
Yeah. I myself, we all deal with our own demons. Some, there's some people like to party, some people turn to other things, a hobby, ways to deal with stress. It's kind of part and parcel of what I do. I practice martial arts, or you have the video actually of me running.
Yes.
That's how I cope.
Hmm.
I like to run to feel the wind in my hair. So I, being who I am accustomed to the stress of a more dynamic lifestyle.
So you think you may be better, in some ways, better prepped for it, perhaps, than Mr. Jones, who this is just brand new to.
I I couldn't speak for him, but of course, but it's something I've been inured in since I was a child. So that's partly why I am I try to be a protector for people because it's something I know I can do and it's within my power.
Power and responsibility.
Mhm.
You also saw Spider-Man.
He laughs. Yeah, I wasn't going to bring it up specifically, but it's a very simple concept that they used in that comic.
Yeah.
Well, that about wraps us up for how much time we have. Thank you all for coming on. I know I'll sleep a little easier, having found out that these sorts of creatures roam around. I mean, you hear stories, but to have it happen in your town. But to know that we have people like yourselves here looking after us, it's very reassuring.
We
So I
will
just
be
want
here
to,
for the people of Olympus.
Best of our ability.
thank you. And, he speaks to the viewers basically, good night sort of thing. And then they cut. Violetta comes back in. Walter looks at her. I think that went very well.
Sasha's wondering if she can use that walk unnoticed just to kind of fade into the chair.
Just disappear.
Probably could.
Look,
Mm,
look. Are we just gonna have a NOS in every campaign?
You have to have at least one rogue.
Don't tip me. Next campaign, I'll do it. You'll never find me.
we have a fifth member, we just don't know where they are.
Oh, wait. Why is that dude falling over? There he is.
So Violetta comes out. She shakes hands with everybody. Oh, that went great. That's gonna look awesome. We've already got our guys working on it. There's really not a whole lot of editing we have to do. We may trim out a little bit for time here or there. If you haven't had lunch yet, we can get something to eat, and they should have the cut more or less done by the time we finish.
You know what? Yeah, that sounds good.
That does sound like a good idea.
I like that. Sure, we'll grab lunch.
We have a very nice cafeteria here. She takes you down, y'all chat while you're eating lunch. When they show you
Hilarious
the
is
final
stress eating.
pardon.
Hilarious is stress eating.
Sasha is also just like quietly stressing.
But it wraps up. Lunch wraps up. She carries you back upstairs.
Is it bad that Connor's fine because he's in bureaucrat mode?
Yes.
The final cut is pretty much just the interviews you saw. You can spot a couple of things where they may have cut. To shorten it down to whatever the segment was supposed to be.
They just keep the button. Do they keep the little button that Hilarious tried to make at the end, where they're like, "We will be here for Olympus."
Oh yeah, that's still on there.
Yeah.
They found that.
I wanted to have a good emphasis on the end.
And there may have been the random call for sniff or something they kind of edit out or whatever.
Yeah, of course.
But they don't seem to be trying to twist your words in any weird ways or anything.
Edit out Sasha face palming, just
I'll approach Violetta and just be like, "This looks good. I'm looking forward to seeing this whenever it airs."
6 o'clock news tonight.
Awesome.
It'll be the main story.
I'll shake her hand.
See, we're not all evil.
Yeah.
Connor's snickering in the background.
Well, if this ends as well as it's going to, then maybe this can be a fruitful partnership.
I would like that. Especially since the other band is apparently just going to talk to anybody.
We'll work out details. I'm sure Connor is got something working. He's working on already.
And then she's kind of walking you out. She's like, and the other story that you have tossed in my lap, that will be debuting tomorrow.
Right.
How much credit do you want for this?
Let's go with the original plan.
Okay. Because the original plan was to be anonymous, I believe.
Anonymous source brought it to your
Yeah.
attention.
And there was plenty of evidence within the material, so. Okay, so we will keep it anonymous then.
Perhaps you might tie something into that could be a reason as to why the alpha dogs were not brought to the police, a fear of justice not being properly served due to their connections.
Several former members were seen meeting with some of the higher authority in the police department. I do remember that.
But that'll get mentioned. We have to be a little careful with that.
Of
Because there's
course.
nothing tying Briggs or Lampton to the Alpha Dogs gang.
They were in a photo of the alpha dogs.
That was when they were a fraternity years
Oh.
back.
Correct.
There's no evidence of their.
Current affiliation, correct.
So we just had to be careful about. We had to be careful not to imply anything.
I
Too
understand
strongly.
power and money.
Yes. And money means
Speaking
lawyers, and lawyers mean my ulcer gets bigger.
Speaking of power, there was an interesting thing that was brought to my attention when I was at City Hall today.
Oh, what is that?
From the sounds of things, we have to speak with him, but the mayor might be trying to keep us on call for threats to the city.
Well, the police are not really optimal choice to handle supernatural threats if those are going to begin assaulting the city on a regular basis.
Yeah.
I imagine the other band will likely be getting that kind of offer too.
Guess we'll see.
Well, you have my number if anything else comes up. I hope to hear from you soon.
Of course.
Waves. As y'all get out to Robert's truck, there is a like an index card basically up under his windshield wiper.
Oh, goody. He'll pull the card
ticket?
and look at it.
It's just a short note. In regards to the fish people, we need to talk. There is what you assume is a cell phone number, and the name Penelope Raptus.
Oh, sweet of her to leave me a personal number.
And that is where we will wrap for the night because it is 9:00. So not an action-packed session, but
Yeah,
we have
it's
to firmly
necessary
establish
RP.
yourself in your public personas.
So you know what else is really sweet? They're apparently stalking us.
Yeah.
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 They're just really big fans.
Mm.
They're just socially awkward, so they don't know how to express it in a healthy manner.
Oh, everyone who's like a sociopath calls himself socially awkward.
Psychopaths, on the other hand, get along with people really well. So that probably means they're not that bad.
Anyway.
All right, so that wraps us up for tonight. Let's see. We don't have a show on Wednesdays anymore. At least not a regular one. I believe we have a Knight's Ransom on Thursdays. The Lost, which is D&D 5e. The Lost Cities. Oh no, the Stolen Cities. Excuse me. I don't know why I always want to mess that up. But the Stolen Cities, also a 5e campaign on Saturdays.
You said Lost City. My brain immediately went Vandelver.
Atlantis?
Yeah, maybe that's what's doing it. I don't know. Monday, Cap has started the second season of the Troubleshooters. And then, of course, we'll be back next Tuesday for more of The World at War
Yes.
here on Dire Bear. We will see y'all next time.
His dogs are barking in the background.
Dogs are always barking in the background.